What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we are going to be taking a look at a 2024 rookie fantasy football mock draft. It's going to be a 4-round rookie mock where we will be selecting from the 5th overall position in a 10-team league. Now, one thing that I will say, I know obviously a lot of us are in those super flex leagues. I'm trying to take that into account because there's not necessarily a setting for that here on FantasyPros at this point in time. But I'm putting the positional value for the quarterbacks to high, very high. So hopefully we're going to see some of those quarterbacks being drafted earlier. And then I'll mention it as we go if it's not a super flex league or a 2-quarterback league, where some of these quarterbacks might otherwise go. But that's honestly all you need to know. So, settle in. If you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at alldaypigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comments section. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's start this thing. Now, again, a lot of us are also in those tight end premium leagues. So I'm trying to also keep that in mind. And if that's the case, a Brock Bowers pick here right now, 5th overall, makes a lot of sense. Now, I won't lie to you. I don't love the situation in Las Vegas with the Raiders and that offense, quarterback situation. And then they've also got Meyer from last year at tight end, but I do think Bowers is much better. But the first 4 picks, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. So you are seeing some of the effect of the quarterback value being raised with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels being 2 of the first 4 picks. Now, you could argue if it was a true super flex league, Caleb Williams is the 101. Maybe, Jaden Daniels is the 103. But either way, nothing too crazy at this point in time. With Caleb Williams not being available, would have been a slam dunk pick for me here. I really do like Rome Odunze. Now, with a lot of these rookies, since you're looking at it from a dynasty aspect, you have to think about it with short-term versus long-term, right? Because if you're in a win-now mode, some of these picks might not be what you agree with. But if we're talking just true value, long-term potential, I think Rome Odunze is the pick here. I don't think that this year is going to be a good year for Rome Odunze. Let me just say that. He's got to contend with DJ Moore and with Keenan Allen. He's going to be the number 3 option on that Chicago offense. So unless there's an injury, the guy is not going to be putting up elite fantasy numbers. But once Keenan Allen leaves probably next year, Rome Odunze is going to be that number 2 wide receiver. He's an elite talent, and I think that connection with Caleb Williams is going to be very, very real. So to me, Rome Odunze here is a really nice pick. If it wasn't him, I would probably be going with Brock Bowers. Again, he gets an added boost if it was a tight end premium league. But it's our turn to make another selection here in a little bit. And let's look at the draft board because this is where it really gets interesting and kind of break down some of these other picks. So Brock Bowers, of course, was the next selection. Then Xavier Worthy. I do think Xavier Worthy is getting that bump up because he's on that Kansas City offense. Makes sense. Again, I think he's another guy that initially this year might not be as high valued as a lot of people think. He's got to contend with Travis Kelce, Marquise Brown. We'll see what happens with Rashee Rice and that suspension potentially. Nobody really knows, but obviously if he is suspended, then the upside for Worthy is higher. Then Brian Thomas, I really do like Brian Thomas, especially with Calvin Ridley gone. Jonathan Brooks, the first running back selected, that makes a lot of sense. I agree with that. Some people might not have him as a first rounder. He's in another situation this year where immediately you might not see the payoff. But let's say Miles Sanders after this year, or maybe even during this year, is traded, released, something like that. Then Jonathan Brooks, the opportunity is 1,000% there. He 100% has the highest upside of all those running backs in Carolina. Roman Wilson afterwards, Ladd McConkey. So again, a lot of this will depend on the way your roster is constructed. I do want to continue to stress that, if you're very running back needy, there might have been a running back run earlier on. So let's keep all of these things in mind. I think Roman Wilson, that's way too early for him. McConkey, I would have had higher. Keon Coleman, you could argue as well. I do like Ricky Pearsall, potentially. Trey Benson right now is somebody that I like on that Arizona offense. Sure, James Conner is there, but again, it's another one of these investment picks. I think you could argue between him and Jonathan Brooks being the top running backs from this rookie class, in a class where it wasn't really all that strong, right? There isn't a Saquon Barkley. There isn't a Bijan Robinson in this class. So right now, I will go with Trey Benson. I think it's a good situation for us, and I think it's in a good spot. Drake May is also tempting. Like he let's be real, he should have been drafted right now if this was a super flex league. But the rankings are a little bit crazy. But I actually am happy that we did see a little bit of a quarterback run. So there goes Drake May. There goes Michael Penix. JJ McCarthy also went in the second round. And again, we are in a spot where if you land a quarterback that's a difference maker and you set yourself up, early on, that's huge. But honestly, I didn't love any of the quarterbacks after Caleb Williams. Like, I do think Drake May is probably the guy I would bank on after all of the other options. But I don't love the situation right now in New England. So that's just my 2 cents at this point in time. But I do think after Caleb Williams, him and Jaden Daniels probably the top 2 guys that I would look at. Ricky Pearsall is also very, very tempting. I love Ben Sano at the tight end position. I think that's good. Troy Franklin, Blake Corum, Bo Nix, and then Jalen Polk at the wide receiver position from New England. So we've got a running back, we've got a wide receiver, and what I've tried to do here is basically just go best player available type of deal. Right now, if we're looking at the wide receiver position, I'm looking at some of these names. The Jets traded up for Malachi Corley, so that's something to remember. Javon Baker, somebody with upside. I like that situation. Some other names. Luke McCaffrey, we'll see. He's kind of a big name, but doesn't necessarily mean too much right now. So I would have loved Purcell. I really, really would have. I'm going to go, and I do think there will be a tight end run at some point in time. I don't love the tight ends. Probably Jatavian Sanders would be the highest guy next. But again, it's probably Sanders or Corley or Javon Baker at this point in time. I'm going to rule out Baker and probably let's go with Jatavian Sanders to kind of equalize this thing, because again, for those in tight end premium leagues, it's a situation where you could be looking at him. Jalen Wright is also a very interesting pick, but it is a crowded backfield in Miami. High upside guy though, however. So honestly, you know what? I've kind of talked myself into, let's go with a high upside running back in Jalen Wright. That's a very high upside offense. So we're going to go in that direction. And then tight end, there's probably going to be a tight end run, but, oh well. It happens. Actually, no, there wasn't a tight end run. There was only one tight end, but it was Jatavian Sanders, to be fair, at the end of the third round. So we're going to make one last selection here, and let's see what's left available to us. So some guys that I liked in Corley and Javon Baker were drafted at the wide receiver position. So that's interesting. Some of these other running backs, Marshawn Lloyd in Green Bay, the Josh Jacobs is there. We'll see if the rookies can take over. I do think that is intriguing. And at this point, the fourth round of a rookie mock draft, it's dart throws. That's what it is, 1,000%. It is dart throws, and you're trying to get a high upside running back potentially. But at this point in time, you're looking at backups or backups to backups type of situation. I'm looking at some of these other names. Brendan Rice with the Chargers. Obviously, he's got the pedigree from a NFL family type of perspective. But what's going to happen there? Like, how much playing time is he going to get? I do like that he's tied to Justin Herbert, so that could be the pick for us. I don't like these. I don't necessarily love these tight ends right now. I do think the tight end class this year is pretty bare after Bowers, Sano, and Jatavian Sanders, in my personal opinion. So I'm not going to force a selection right now. So let's just go with a wide receiver, and I'm going to go with, I know Luke McCaffrey had higher draft capital, and I know he's also got that pedigree as well, but I think I'm going to go with Brendan Rice for the potentially higher upside. in regards to the offense that he's tied to and the quarterback he's tied to. So that's how we're going to conclude this thing. I think we got 2 high upside wide receivers, 2 high upside running backs. I wouldn't be mad if this is how my rookie mock draft went. Now, again, obviously, take this with a grain of salt. You can't 100% import all of your league settings here. For everyone watching, everyone has different league settings, whether it's tight end premium, whether it's 2 quarterbacks, etc., etc. But hopefully, you guys enjoyed kind of this quick breakdown, some of the insight into the players, the rookies, the situations. If so, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at alldaypigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section any and all rookie mock draft questions. We'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.